How overcomplicated can this fuel system really be? We got all these basic parts, and a fuel cooler, and what the f*** is that thing? Okay, any fuel system begins and ends at the tank. This one just happens to do so through a single fitting. We also need some fuel rails, as that's iconic for any fuel injection. With the power of 3D printing, we'll make a jig to borrow the tolerances from a 3D printer and transfer them to the rail. The rail slides into the jig, and the inserts guide drill bits perpendicular to the rail surface for a near perfect alignment, allowing a hand drill to be used for precise drilling practices. The small holes are then slowly oversized by a small amount on each step to prevent walking of the bit in the plastic guide. The first step was 1/8 inch, and the final step was 7/16 inch. After drilling to 7/16 inch, a guide was inserted to tap the holes to 1/4 inch national pipe thread. This isn't a standard fuel rail if you haven't deduced that yet. The second jig was then printed to put 1/2 inch national pipe thread into the ends of the fuel rail. Once complete, it was then mounted to 3D printed TPU mounts. Now before we figure out where this monstrosity is going, we need to attach the 2 intake manifolds we welded up in the last video. With those installed, we'll need to put some fittings into our fuel distribution block. These fittings will convert from pipe thread to AN fitting. Now the fun begins, planning a fuel system. To start, I attach all the mounts to the pump and filters, at which point I move to the firewall and start testing locations for the pump and filters, while trying to keep my hose runs as short as possible without any kinks. I then mount the regulator as well as the fuel cooler. I elected to use a fuel cooler as the fuel return and supply are on one fitting, meaning some fuel may get sucked back through multiple times, leading to excessive heating. I'm hoping this will lead to a cooler fuel return. 2 screws through the body into the fuel cooler secure it, and it is then installed. At this point, I needed to wait on some parts for the cluster that would be my attempt at hard lines to the injectors. So in the meantime, I elected to finish up the downpipe and muffler. This is a cheapo Chinese muffler, but it'll do the trick just fine. I did, however, splurge on a decent flex joint, along with USA-made stainless Schedule 10 pipe for the downpipe. It's a bit overkill, but it's very sturdy. Some 3D printed mounts were made to hang the muffler to the body and allow for some movement, and that's done. After about a week, I finally had my hands on Hardline to build the lines for the fuel injector supply. There were many failed attempts, so I moved to the soft lines to cool off for a while. The soft line creation went much smoother, and after such a smooth operation, I then installed them under the buggy, with no issues at all, whatsoever. Not even like I measured once and cut once, and I had one wrong. Oh well, live and learn. After some movie magic and a few choice words, I have fuel lines complete, or so I thought. Insert ominous foreshadowing for future video problems here. However, this was, at the time, a problem for future me, poor, clueless future me who thought everything was going according to plan. But alas, I will leave you with another short teaser, as is custom around here. I like to leave a little suspense in hopes you, the viewer, will return to watch me ramble for another short video about a Frankenbug project. Thanks for watching, leave a comment, tell me how I've done so far, and subscribe if you'd like to continue to watch me on this journey.